Well, good morning, and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folarin. You no doubt have heard the remarks of former President Obasanjo, all about Fulanisation and Islamization. Of course, the federal government has, clapped back, saying how disappointed they are. But on the other hand, as a former president, I suppose it will be shocking to hear this kind of thing. But maybe just keep it on the straight and narrow, just keep it with what has been said. The former president thinks and has shared his thoughts that it's gone beyond what we usually say, that it's all about lack of education, lack of employment. Say, no, it's not about that. It's because the matter wasn't addressed in a timely manner. And so therefore, it's now gone as bad as this. And then he talked about the Fulanization and the Islamization. Shocking comments, especially coming from as high up as a former leader who is expected to be a statesman. There are many who are considering those remarks to be divisive. Some even say sensational, some say attention-seeking. But, see what my guests think about it. Professor Tunde Samuel is APC Chieftain. Thank you very much, as always, Prof, for coming on the program.
It's nice coming here.
Thank you, sir. And Mr. Curtis Adigba is a lawyer and public affairs analyst. Thank you, as always, for coming on. How shocked were you, Prof? I'm going to start with you. Or were you even shocked at all when the news hit you that a foremost Nigerian leader, a Nigerian statesman, was making these kind of remarks? Is there a sense in which he is not being understood? And just generally, what do you think about it?
I would say yes and no. Yes, because most Nigerians look up to former President Olusegun Obasanjo as not only a former president, but they expect him to be a statesman of means and substance. So, anytime he comes out with some statements, most Nigerians are disappointed.
Okay.
Because they will expect him to behave the way other civilized former head of states in other climes, who will talk seldomly on critical national issues. Presidents in other climes don't talk every time. You only find them talking and speaking when there are critical national issues where their opinion or their views matter. That's why I say yes. But
that's the way Obasanjo sees the insecurity that prompted this outburst.
Oh, that's why I say no. My answer was yes and no.
Okay.
My no can be situated from his personality cult. I see the revered former head of state who relishes in attention seeking. President Obasanjo does not like attention. He wants people to hear and see him talk. But the most unfortunate thing is the level of rationality in such outbursts. That's what most Nigerians quarrel about. The level of rationality in such outbursts. Very, very important.
Okay. If coming to you, Curtis, whether the president is incumbent or a previous one, as Prof has said, you expect him to still be something of a custodian. In fact, more than a little in that direction, of a custodian on the country's core values. Look, togetherness, to just put it in understandable language, has always been an important value in Nigeria that just about every reasonable person has been promoting. So to come up and speak in a way that some have interpreted as being decidedly divisive, how did you receive it?
Well, you asked Prof if Prof was shocked by the outburst. And because he's a Prof, he took a diplomatic route. I wouldn't. And I will tell you straight away, I'm not disappointed. And I was not shocked. There's nothing the former president can do in this country that will shock me anymore. And he has proven over time that he can always invent a new law from those he had been associated with in the past when it comes to national issue. I think the problem, unfortunately, my father had never been president. He's been opportuned by the grace of Nigerians and God to be president twice and a military head of state. And so he should understand the dignity of that office, the power that he carries. And people will say to you, just forget about the messenger and look and listen to his message. No, the message is worthless without the messenger. If I said the things he said, nobody will pay attention.
Yeah.
It is because of who he is that we are paying attention. And I think the problem is, the man probably thinks that the presidency of Nigeria ended with his administration, and that anybody who occupied that office after him is incapable of governing this country. Now, there is a concept called reserve leadership. Even when you are not in power yourself, but because you have been in power and you have been maintained by the state, you are still a leader. And that's why he's a member of the Council of State.
Yes.
That's why he earns his full salary as if he was still in the office. That's why his vehicles are bought for him and maintained for him. That's why his medical is paid for. He should understand that he is still a leader. And the timing, the topic, the audience, the place of delivery, they are telling. So this is not something that just happened by accident. It was timed, properly timed, and planned to cause confusion in the country. And he did it deploying our usual fault lines, religion and ethnicity.
Which is surprising, because I remember Obasanjo was very, very much a player in our national affairs during the Civil War. And remember, to keep Nigeria one is a task that must be done. Remember, just about everybody who is old enough will remember that particular slogan. And even people who didn't understand it at the time sort of knew that whatever you did, we were even fighting a civil war at the time. And the whole point was that, no, we are one, indivisible unit. Although I know many, many debates have come since then, and we've been looking at those debates. But what I'm hearing, that is the way the president could be a chronic, the former president could be a chronic attention seeker and all of that. Well, if that's it, then it's easy to dismiss. But I suspect that, considering how seriously former President Obasanjo is taking on the international fora. He's in one place. If it's in Africa, he's there. If it's somewhere, leaders, he's there. The Mo Ibrahim people, he's there. So the way a lot of people see him, and I'm not saying all, because there are those admirers, there are those sort of an Obasanjo fan club, there are those who hang on to every word that he says. But most people, I don't know. I don't think the majority of people think of the comments that Obasanjo makes as the be-all of the issue. Now he's saying these things, I'm wondering to what effect, what is the motive? That is the frustrating problem that I have. I can't seem to fathom out. He knows the import. He was in charge. Boko Haram was festering under his watch. And now he's saying that it was not addressed in a timely manner. So I don't know how he wants people to take. I don't know how former President Obasanjo wants us all to take all of this. Prof, you can't just be looking. You can't help me understand this. Because maybe elders, or as President Obasanjo reached that stage when traditionally we say that, look, he's an elder, forgive some of those things that are said. I don't want to use the word senility, but you know what I mean.
Yes, let me first and foremost make this point clear. Political sloganeering and gerrymandering don't make credible leaders. That's why I'm situating the former president now. It delights in political sloganeering and gerrymandering. That's point number one. Point number two, don't take this comment lightly.
Okay.
I am beginning to situate it within this conspiracy theory. You know me, I don't play with the conspiracy theory. With less than 10 or 11 days to swearing-in ceremony, I am not surprised. I cannot take this comment out of the conspiracy theory. To diminish the gusto of May 29. So that's another dimension I'm looking at it. His comments are always timely. His comments are not by accident. And that's one thing I don't like. Nigerians believe President Olusegun, they are not situating him properly as a person. Why this comment with less than 10, 12 days to the swearing-in ceremony?
Because one would have thought that he would be more concerned with perhaps agenda setting for the incoming administration, that these are my ideas, these are my thoughts.
Yuri, you asked a question. You said, what was the question? The first question you asked for?
Whether he was shocked by the outburst.
No. The second question, I think you asked a question to Prof.
Okay.
About why he keeps doing what he does, and he has a lot of followership.
That he is well regarded externally, and even internally to some extent.
Yeah, let me tell you, he has a large followership in this country that you cannot take away, because he's been able to pull the wool over people's eyes for a long time in this country. I can tell you that's not strange. Even Satan has got a large followership. Bill Clinton used to say that a broken clock, the wall clock that you see, as bad as it is right twice a day, at least.
Even though it's broken and stuck wherever,
yeah, I mean,
twice a day,
yes.
it will be accurate.
Yeah, look, so you must understand where this guy is coming from. There are people who think that... I read a book some years ago by one of his lieutenants, James Oluleye, where he talked about him and said, if there is one Nigerian who has the ability to plan both good and evil with equal efficiency, it's General Obasanjo. And so, for so long a time, Nigerians believed he was a power broker in this country. You cannot be president if you don't go to him. And so when he came out and said, look, the current president will not be president anymore.
Yeah.
We're going to get rid of him.
Yeah.
They believed him. Some of us argued then that President Buhari won the election in spite of, not because of Obasanjo. We were told to wait and see the outcome of the 2019 election. That the outcome of that election demystified him. And for a long time, I mean, when I use a long time in quote now, within the period, he kept quiet.
Of course.
And nobody was paying attention. And to him, the worst thing, worse than speaking about him, is not speaking about him. Not speaking about him at all is the worst thing. It doesn't matter whether the publicity is good or bad. Deng Xiaoping, the popular former Chinese leader, said, it does not matter if the cat is black or white, so long as it catches mice. So long as Obasanjo is in the news, he's happy. For whatever reason, he doesn't give a damn.
Yes.
And so, like you said, when we will set an agenda for the new government, we are talking about an explosive comment that is capable of setting this country on fire.
Yes.
So that he can turn around and say, oh, he wants to mediate in bringing solution after causing the problem. This is where I have problem with the so-called democracy that we practice. There are certain persons that are seen above the law that cannot be called to question. Look, you could be saying the right thing, you could be saying the truth, you could have your facts right. But the way and manner you present those facts are equally very important.
Another thing is that, look, former President Obasanjo, he's held in very high esteem locally, even in coming out against his utterances. you could see that there still was, you know, a modicum of reverence involved, alluding to the fact that, you know, ordinarily he should see himself as a statesman. He's taking bullets for Nigeria. How can you, in your old age, you know, now be seeking to divide the country and all of that kind of a thing? So even things like it might not be amiss for him to withdraw his remarks and apologize to Nigerians. You see, just see kid gloves all around. Kid gloves. As you were, kid gloves all around. Could you explain that to me, Prof? Because if a person is, if you're decidedly going against, as it were, the mainstream, and yet it's being still handled with kid gloves, I'm not saying that they should clap him in detention or anything, but the care with which he is addressed, could you explain that? What do you think is going on there?
You see, Yori, I have said it several times, and I'm repeating myself. The former president is an attention seeker. He lost attention. You need to understand his person in the last 25, 30 years. That's point number one.
I beg your pardon for interrupting you, sir.
Yes.
He's an attention seeker. I'm going to come back to that because Issa in Abuja has called in.
Okay.
Let's hear what Issa has to say. Good morning, Issa. Well, if Issa is there, can you hear us? Good morning. Issa in Abuja.
Yes.
Okay, Issa.
Yes. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Good morning, sir. Okay. Go ahead, please.
Yes, I want to contribute on the issue of recent comment by the former president,
Go on.
Obasanjo.
Yes, go on.
It is time for us now to begin to realize that not every comment made by 70 or 80 something years person should take into consideration as factual or otherwise. Because I know I have a grandfather who is almost at his age. I made such comments that are bound to see as if he's out of his senses. So we should pardon him and then manage him and then wish him the remaining process of his life. That's my contribution.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you very much.
So, Yori,
Yes. Attention seeker.
you recall that prior to the 2019 general elections, he was in the news. He became the most profound letter writer in the history of this country. I was waiting to see the domino effect of that poster of his in the outcome of the election. But alas, the domino effect was negative. You did not want somebody to win an election. You did everything possible to diminish his chances by slandering the person, his potentials and everything. You did not stop at that. Despite that, President Buhari won the election in 2019 again. President Obasanjo has been keeping quiet since the result of that election. That's what I said. One needs to understand his personality cult properly. Once he fails in an attempt to achieve something, it's not that the president has no conscience. He will recede. Now he has come out with Fulanisation and Islamization just to seek attention. I will wait and see the domino effect of this again. I think the gentleman who has just spoken has spoken in minds of millions of Nigerians.
Yes, okay. say, look,
that
he's
we
an
don't-
old man.
we don't
We
need
have to be
we
understanding.
should not give prominence.
And don't
to-
give much attention to what he's saying.
To his comment, that's with I agree with him.
Okay, good morning, Mr. George.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Thank you for calling in.
And good morning to the elder statesman and coffee.
How are you? Thank you.
Uncle Yori, the case of Obasanjo, I will blame the president partially for it. Why? Because this is a man that we all know. He believes that nobody can become the president of this country without him. And now, the president has won a re-election without him. So he's wounded. But how can somebody who has many cases to answer become wounded to be attacking the government and getting away with it? That is the one that worries me. This is a man that has not been able to account for $16 billion that he said he spent for the power we don't have. And the way he and Atiku are going about the election that took place that they lost, I think the president needs to do something. Somebody has said we should ignore him. I don't agree with that. If you ignore an attacker, he will continue to attack you until you are down. The president has to do something about it. This man ordinarily should have been cooling off in one jail, in one prison house.
That's not going to be possible. I mean, given how we treat our elders, given how the respect we put on former leaders.
Uncle Yori, an elder person has to earn what he is. See the elder man in front of you. I've listened to him several times when he comes on air, and I pick a lot of things from what he says. You cannot see a man like this and be talking to him the way I'm talking to Obasanjo now. I would be a stupid person to be talking to a man like that in front of you. Because he has proved who he is. It is not your age that counts. It is what you are and what comes out of you. This man has not, demonstrated to me as a citizen that he loves this country. He just loves himself. And anything that doesn't go his way, it is either it's spoiled, or either he has it or it's spoiled. We don't need such a statesman in our country.
Thank you very much.
Good morning.
Good morning, and thank you very much.
I don't believe it should be ignored. You don't ignore an existential danger. Don't forget that it was this same attitude that got Abacha to deal with him. The way he's been treated by President Buhari, he will not treat anybody that way. You know that he will not treat anybody that way. Now, what has happened is that the president has shown that he has restraint. You know, the first time he wrote him a letter, he instructed his aides not to even respond.
Yes, yes.
It took the Minister of Information to say, we need to put out the facts there. And the president himself spoke about that. And so he feels that because they are not answering him or taking him to the cleaners, as he has done to others, using some of his aides in the past, he's encouraged to do. Look, the only language bullies understand is resistance. Once, look, he's a bully, I can tell you that. So once he gets the feeling that he can do whatever he wants to do, say whatever he wants to say, and he gets away with it, then he will continue. But with fairness to him, he made some point. And the point was that all of them, especially at the beginning, underestimated what we have now, which is the Boko Haram terrorists. He was president up till 2007, when the group, they were operating on the ground. He was president when Sharia was introduced. When Sharia was introduced in another part of the country. He did nothing to stop them. When he handed over to his hand-picked successor, then the problem busted into the open in 2009. Okay? And after the late president, his own hand-picked vice president again took over. He supported him until they fell apart, and he accused him of all sorts of things. So to that extent, you can say he took his own proper position in the scheme of things by saying, but the politicization of ethnicity and religion, which is actually the main purpose of that speech, is to say, oh, the Fulanis want to Fulanize West Africa. He used West Africa, he didn't use Nigeria.
Yes.
And that Muslims want to Islamize Africa. The point is, the Boko Haram terrorists operating in this country, they have killed more Muslims and kidnapped more Muslims
And attacked more mosques, than churches. One second,
so
please.
How do Muslims Islamize Muslims?
There you go. Ade in the UK, thank you very much for holding on. Good morning. Ade in the UK, good morning. Ade, I think we've lost Ade. Or is he there still? He's gone.
Hello, good morning.
Oh, Ade.
Good morning. Can you hear me, please?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hello.
Can you hear us?
Good morning.
Good morning, Ade. Go ahead.
Hello. Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Speak, Ade.
Hello, can you hear me, please?
Yes.
Yeah. Good morning, everybody.
Yeah, good morning.
Yeah. What I wanted to say, since when I was looking at this program since when you started, I've realized that people that calling in and people that talking, they always they condemn. But what I wanted to say is the current administration is the one that giving Obasanjo the chance to talk. If you can see the situation of Nigeria, you can see that insecurity, everything is there. But if the current administration can try as much as possible to do what is needful, those things will not. The Obasanjo will not have a say to say anything. But to my point, what I can say is that the current administration is the one giving Obasanjo a chance to be saying what he's saying.
Okay.
So if they can do what is needful, you will see they will put Obasanjo in it. That's what I will say. Thank you. Bye.
Are they in the UK? Okay then. Thank you very much.
Can we preach Catholicism to the Pope? Why will Muslims fight against Muslims to Islamize Muslims? They're already Muslims, practitioners of Islam.
And what are former President Obasanjo's sources?
Yes.
What are his sources
as usual, he's fat-free. He didn't provide any evidence, but people will run away with it. Masob already said, look, we believe in what he said. Yesterday, they issued a statement and said, we believe in what the former president said.
Oh, Yinka Dumakin has spoken for Afenifere.
Yes.
And
Femi Fani-Kayode said that Sule Lamido, who told the former president that you're a national leader, don't be a bigot because your candidate didn't win the election. He said it's only somebody who is an Islamist or who believes in terrorism that will accuse the former president of saying the wrong thing.
That's what is being said.
Sule Lamido, Minister of Foreign Affairs, under the same president, telling him, sir, I know you. Don't be a bigot because your candidate didn't win an election. That's the situation.
And for Ade in the UK, who was saying that, look, if the incumbent administration...
I don't want what it's supposed to do.
Then they wouldn't have... but the advice he was given, Lai Mohammed has responded that he's a bit too late. There is nothing fresh, nothing new that the president has not done since coming into office, but it is still a work in progress. And as I was speaking, Ade in Ojota came in. Let me just see what Ade has to say. Good, I beg your pardon. Tunde in Ojota. Tunde in Ojota, good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Go ahead, please.
Yeah, I would like to contribute to the program. Yeah, first and foremost, what I would like to say is that, like the other caller have said, the president should be blamed. If he's trying to respect his superior, it's not to the detriment of the country. If the situation we are finding ourselves now is uncalled for, and if a leader, a statesman that is well respected, is giving out all these utterances, what do you want the generation of now to do? The generation of now are so sensitive that they don't play with any iron of word that comes from a leader. I believe it is that time a pace has to be set. A leader must not be saying such a thing that is condemning, whether in a situation whereby he himself has even passed through the situation, and he accepted the blame that he has not been able to do such a resolution to such point. How come is he not blaming somebody now? Last 2 weeks, General Gowon visited Buhari, and I watched it on the TV. He went personally and told him that he should give his what would I say? He should give his mandate and do what the citizen wants. That is how a leader needs to do. You need to set a peace in a country, not to give more problems to the situation at hand.
All right.
Obasanjo should be the first person to be arrested now. We need to set the peace. If you know, you are laughing. It's important. Okay,
well,
we were all saying now.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
When Saraki was docked in the court, is he not the first president to be docked? Yes, it needs to be done. We have to set an example. We have to set it. Mr. Curtis has nailed it on the oil.
Okay.
If it's not done, I as a person, I'm looking at him, and I'm not borrowing. I can never even borrow anything from me.
All right. Exactly.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Tunde. So how important this is what we'll probably look at after the break. Who is listening? What does this have an effect? Is it of significance? Does anybody believe it? That will be after the break. Stay with us, please. Okay, welcome back. Still on set with Professor Tunde Samuel, APC Chieftain, and Mr. Curtis Adigba, lawyer and public affairs analyst. And we're looking at the statement that the federal government has picked up and shown that it's, has very, very little patience with. But in spite of all of that, they've still been measured in their commentary.
Very measured.
They've been very, very measured in their commentary. Look, there are those who are linking all of this, or this particular, the latest instance of President Obasanjo coming out like this, that are linking it to his disappointment at the way the election went. President Buhari won the election. Don't forget that the main contender, the main contestant, he had for so long been saying that Atiku Abubakar was no good, absolutely no good. And then suddenly, he has come, he has apologized to me, and I have forgiven him. And so, now I don't quite understand, because Atiku is sucked in.
Let's give our listeners the background. Atiku Abubakar was vice president to Obasanjo when he was president for 8 years. They had a very robust relationship the first time, and then the relationship broke down as a result of the rumors and insinuation that Atiku was going to take his position. We were told that at the point he knelt down before Atiku, before he was able to secure a second term, because most of the governors were behind Atiku, pushing him to challenge his boss. Now he came in and decided to rubbish the man second term. Don't forget that Atiku remained vice president to the end because of the Nigerian courts. But there was a point that he locked him out of Aso Rock, and the Supreme Court had to say he had no power. The Atiku, as Obasanjo's vice president, jumped from his party, the PDP, and went to ACN, where he contested a presidential candidate. After their tenure, and you remember the PTDF issue, where they were accusing each other of corruption. And after their tenure, he wrote a book called My Watch, where he said terrible things about this man. Oh, his ancestry was in doubt. He believes in marabout. He throws money at problems. He has bad judgment. He's so corrupt. And at the point he said, if I ever support Atiku to be president, God will not forgive me.
Okay. One moment, please.
Yes.
Abe in Joburg, good morning.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Thank you for calling in.
Good morning to our father in the studio, the Prof.
Good morning. Thank you.
I always enjoy whatever contribution he made. Yes, Uncle Yori, like Mr. George said, I think the present government of Nigeria did not keep Obasanjo busy. If they have kept him busy, he wouldn't be doing what he's doing. Because somebody who spends 15 billion on a power that we cannot even enjoy for 1 hour and is working free, He's not in any court. He's not answerable to anybody. What do you expect from Tosh? The president, the immediate past president of South Africa, as I'm talking to you, is in court this morning. So until we start to do the right thing in Nigeria, if the present government has kept Obasanjo busy asking him a question from one court to the other, he won't be able to be going to one place telling Buhari that he wants to Islamize Nigeria. Yes. It's not called for. Because to me, the meaning of another statesman is somebody who can walk into the president or walk into the authority and give them a private advice, but not somebody who is going to everywhere to destabilize the government, to destabilize the man because he doesn't like him. No, I think the Buhari government, I pray by the time they start in May 29, they should not watch Obasanjo moving freely. They should call him and ask him questions. Let him go to court every day. You will see he won't have time to be doing what he's doing. Thank you, and have a wonderful morning, sir.
Thank you very much.
Let me finish my point.
Sure.
And then all of a sudden, as soon as he fell out with President Muhammadu Buhari, he was looking for a candidate to contest against him. Boom! Who had the money and the resources to prosecute the presidential? It was Atiku. And he made a 360-degree turn and wanted he wanted Nigerians to suffer from collective amnesia about everything he had said about Atiku. And then he said, look, he has come to me, he has apologized, he has assured me he has learned from my leadership skills, we will make him president. He made everything about himself. You know, as if we collectively gave him our brains to keep for us and use it the way he wants to use it.
One moment, please. Yakub Indokwemo, good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning. Very good morning, sir. And then good morning to Baba in the studio, and then, of course. You see, severely, it is unfortunately that we find ourselves in a country whereby institution is not working. Why am I saying that? I didn't mean that institution in this country is working perfectly. When Obasanjo made that statement, believe me, you, Chifiori, it could pick up immediately. But we believe in this country that some people that are untouchable. Because why is it not going to happen, Chifiori? Let me give you a typical example here. Fani Kayode has made a lot of this kind of statements. Up to today, nothing happened to him. The other guy that you mentioned in the studio earlier, Mr. Odumaki, also made a such statement somewhere earlier. Nothing happened to them. Both of them, they did something fake news one time ago. Nothing happened to them. Chiefly, it is unfortunately we keep it going this way because our system is handicapped. They believe that there are some people that cannot be able to pick up and dealt with. I will say that, Chiefly, I want to use this opportunity to tell Mr. President that he should not be too soft the way he did it the first time. This time around, a president of the country must be able to go all out to take on whoever wants to bring this country down. Why am I saying that? They are telling us that they want to Islamize this country. How is it going to happen? In my family, I have so much Christian in my family. I don't believe in you. I'm a devoted Muslim. I'm unrepentant Muslim. And then, mind you, if I go to their house, they always give me a kettle to pray. They also give me a mat to pray. Are you not telling me that in this country that I find so many people in my family, as a Christian, they want to Islamize a country? Chiefly, the way out is this. Look at it. If you travel from Lagos to Abeokuta today, Chiefly, you will tears for this country. And then this is a president of a country for 8 years, coming from the southwest. And then today you cannot travel freely from Ogun State to Lagos State and then be happy. You'll be cheated. Chiefly, as I said earlier, Mr. President, he should be go all out to make sure that whoever make a statement to destabilize this country must be picking up and send them to where they're supposed to belong to. Thank you, God bless you.
Thank you very much for calling in. Okay. The other thing, though, is that I think Nigerians, we've become used to some of the fruits of democracy, and free speech is among those. And Yakub cited a number of people that have used this tenet in their own way, this whole matter of free speech. I think most Nigerians are proud that you don't get picked up in the middle of the night, thank God, because of what some of the expressions, whether it is in social media, whether it is on the internet, on whatever, the old media. there's a situation here, Prof.
Yeah.
Democracy is what it is. All of us are rooting for democracy. We think it is the best, better than any other system. And this whole matter of free speech in there, even though you might not be happy about what is being said, the right of a person to say it is still there.
Yeah.
And this is one of the challenges. Perhaps I wondered if that has any relevance on our conversation now.
It has. During my last discussion here, I made a statement which was misinterpreted, that the 11th commandment of the bourgeoisie is that thou shalt not be caught. But if and when you are caught, you'll be in soup. And I said on that day that President Buhari cannot just throw everybody into prison without due process. The law must be allowed to take its course. Matters must be investigated and quantifiable evidence available to get people pay for their actions. So that's exactly the same thing now.
Okay.
You see,
it can't be done in a military way.
No. President Buhari is now a democratic president. If it were in those days, President Obasanjo knew if it were to be Abacha's days, he cannot be talking like this.
One moment, sir. Wilfred in Abuja, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Thank you for calling in. Go ahead, please.
Yes, I want to chip in a little contribution regarding the salient topic you brought up.
Please go ahead.
Yes. You see, the issue we have at hand is that sentiment has driven Nigeria to this extent of high degradation of national politics. Now, you see that former President Obasanjo made this statement. Now, search through your conscience as a Nigerian, as a nationalist, if you are one or any other person hearing what I'm saying. What President Obasanjo, former President Obasanjo said, is it true or not? Has Nigeria today be divided than ever? Is that true or not? Is there no trace of action or actionable thing that these people or these elements, probably the herdsmen, probably the Boko Haram or whatsoever the name you call it, the action isn't not alluding to what President Obasanjo said? Look at the captivity of Leah Shaibu. The group that abducted her said that because she did not renounce her faith, that is why she's still in captive. If somebody slightly allude to what these people are doing and people are getting up condemning what the person is saying, meanwhile the person is saying exactly what is being done. Look at what Mehdi Allah said after time. The issue of herdsmen attack to Benue people, he said if the law of a grazing reserve is not reversed, that the attack will be unleashed more. And the law was not reversed, and the attack was unleashed. Now, the chairman that says so, and the group, they are still going around doing their business and all that. And you are telling me that Nigeria is trading on right path. Look, let me tell you something. The message I have for you people and Nigerians this day is that hence we remain in this sentiment, hence we remain with this injustice, then we are saying that we want to hold Nigeria down from going forward. And unless we begin to get up and tell ourselves the truth, even in the face, tell Mr. President truth in the face, Nigeria will never move forward. And I pray that we realize that President Muhammad Buhari is president today. In the short time, he will be leaving office. And if we leave this kind of precedence, the thing will continue, and I wonder what the fate of Nigerian state will be. Thank you.
Indeed. Thank you.
Yeah, let me make a few comments about what he said.
Okay.
I think there is this myth in the country that has spread widely about the unity of Nigeria. and how divided the country is now. Nigeria has never been a united country. And I'm prepared to engage anybody in a conversation about how united this country was, and it's now so divided under this president. I think we misunderstand a political appointment with the concept of unity as a nation. The fact that you feel that the president has appointed people from one ethnic group more than the other, which is not even true, does not mean we have division. Now, if you're talking about the banditry, the kidnapping and all that, I think we must again separate what is sheer criminality from what is terrorism. And that has always been present in this country. Now, not all of them happen in one part of the country.
Not only that, sir, but there's also, I think you can also factor in fake news, because the gentleman who spoke, Wilfred, spoke about chairman of Miyetti Allah.
Yes.
You remember there was
talked about Benue?
You know there was a fake video going around where they were using disparate elements with a banner of a Miyetti Allah meeting, and then trying to make it sound like they were demanding millions from government, and government was giving them billions.
It was also in this country that two gentlemen of the opposition said the EFCC had just invaded Vice President Atiku's house. It turned out to be fake. The police wanted to pick them. They went to court, and the court said they cannot be arrested. You know, because they're talking about freedom of speech. Look, there's freedom of speech.
Yes.
But it has a limit. There are limits to freedom of speech.
Of course.
Russian President Vladimir Putin said, yes, I recognize that there's freedom of speech. What I cannot guarantee is your freedom after the speech. So it depends on what you say. We're exercising your free speech. So this idea that, you know, there's an attempt to Islamize Nigeria. Nigeria is so divided under this presidency, or that we don't have unity.
And then the Fulanis want to take over.
It's just a farce.
You know,
it's not real. We've never been united.
Let me try. Going back to the UK, we've already had Ade from the UK, but I understand this is yet another Ade from the United Kingdom. Good morning.
Good morning. Double high chief Glory.
Good morning.
Amunu of Lagos.
You're too kind, sir. Good morning.
My point is this. I don't support the topic or whatever the title Obasanjo was trying to say. But my point is this, Mr. Glory. We have a serious problem in Nigeria. If you realize last week, people are going for wedding in Ondo State. For wedding, they stopped their vehicle, they released the woman, the wife and the child to go home and tell them, and they took all the men inside the forest. And these are poor people, and they will end up selling their property. And before if it involves you, that you have to pay millions to secure someone, you will know the pains of the common people in Nigeria. And when you are suffering, if your child is crying, you must pacify that child that please don't cry. But our president, keep mood. He didn't talk. If anything happened in UK here, maybe they stab somebody, the Prime Minister will talk. The Mayor will talk. So the citizen will know that something is going to happen. But in Nigeria, the President will not talk. The wife will not talk. These are blood flowing, blood of Nigeria. It doesn't matter whether you are Muslim or whatever. Blood of Nigeria flowing every day. They are in pain. We need the President that will speak to Nigeria. That I'm working on, not that security meeting all the time. No. Talk to Nigerians. I understand what you are going through.
Elder Ade, Mr. Ade, this whole matter of, we understand it, but Adigba was making a statement just before your call came in that, look, criminality, straightforward criminality that is the business of police should not be confused with these religious, fanning embers of hatred and the military and all of that. Do you consider that point?
No. I'm not talking of religion. We're all one in Nigeria. What I'm saying is this: blood is flowing. People are suffering. Yeah. Those who are kidnapped, if you listen to them, they will remove their shoe. Listen to me, please. They will remove their shoe. They will be walking barefooting in the forest, so they will not escape. They are going through pain. Okay. Let the president speak to us. Let's hear his voice. Mr. Ade, the press or whatever.
Mr. Ade, please.
That's why they put him in there.
We're going to let Mr. Ade go. We'll come and comment at the end of it.
God bless you.
Thank you very much for calling in, sir.
You know the comment I was going to make?
Yes.
We tend to throw everything into Mr. President basket. what he talked about happened in Ondo State.
Yes.
Did we hear any comment from the governor of Ondo State?
Akeredolu.
Within this thing took place in Ondo State. There is a governor in Ondo State. Has the governor come out to make any pronouncement of what happened within his state? But you know, we are all comfortable saying the president did not speak. Yes, he could speak. He gave an example of London. London is a much smaller place, just the capital as well as a city. Now, if something happens in London, the Prime Minister lives in London, the Mayor of London lives in London, they can give their speeches, the MPs and all that. But in a country where you have governors who are in charge of states, why is it that if anything happens in the state, anywhere in the country, the first place we jump to is the presidency? The presidency has not spoken. And until he speaks himself, I am not saying he shouldn't speak, but have we come to a point where we can begin to ask the governors too to be sensitive to happenings within their domain?
Okay.
Yes.
Ireland. Ireland wants to join the conversation. Bimbo in Ireland, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Thank you for calling in.
Good morning. First of all, sir, I'd like to make a first remark about composition of your team, which is very flawed. Number one, when you bring in a team to contribute to a matter for against and both sides of the judgment, I'm not a supporter of Obasanjo. I've never liked Obasanjo as a leader in Nigeria. But sometimes you listen to the message, not the messenger. Now, when you bring Mr. Digba speaks from both sides of the mouth, you are attacking Obasanjo because of you want to.
Who is Adigba? Did you mean Mr. Digba?
Adigba, right?
Oh, okay.
From both sides of the mouth, I'm very clear.
With respect, he's talking from both sides of the mouth.
How? Yes.
You're talking about Obasanjo trying to divide the country, okay. And at the same time, you are alluding to the fact that Nigerians have been divided. Now, I am from Ondo State.
Where's the contradiction there?
I was supposed to be in Nigeria last week. Virtually ran away from home because of herdsmen attack. The president of the nation, I've been living in the Western world for 30 years. The president of a nation, when your country is on fire, you stay at home and defend it and do something about it. Even if you are outside the country, you run back to the country. Whatever you are doing outside, you leave and return home. This man packed his bag and went to Mecca. When the country is on fire, in those states, in 80%, nobody can travel even in the afternoon. In my street, in my area in Nakure locality, X-Men have taken over the street. Last time I was in Nigeria, I cannot even, for 30 minutes, took me to enter my compound from the gate, access my compound.
Sorry. I don't know what facts you are citing, because you see, staying on WhatsApp and Facebook, and then citing Instagram writings as facts, because I recognize some of these things you are saying from the social media.
Yes.
I'm not saying that's exclusively what you depend on, but I'm saying that, look, are you reading the mainstream media, listening and watching the mainstream media?
I'm not a fan of Obasanjo.
No, but are you even in Nigeria? We're not talking about that, sir. I'm talking about the source of your news that you are sharing with us.
The source of your news.
The things that you are saying sound very much like WhatsApp kind of news, Facebook kind of news, Instagram kind of news. And I'm saying, do you pay attention to the mainstream media at all?
After Lagos again. After Lagos is on fire. You people, because people hold the television, you are talking. I travel to different states in the West, and what you are saying is not true.
He's brought it on to Tinubu.
Yes.
So thank you very much.
You live in Ireland, you don't live in the country.
I appreciate your call.
So you are spreading what you
Yori, I have some comments.
Yes, sir.
Yes. I don't like people heaping blames on Mr. President every time.
That's it.
That's why we have governors in the 36 states of the Federation. Mr. President will not do the job of all the 36 governors. Number one, I want us to disabuse our mind throughout the Federation on that. Number two, as a member of the APC, as a chieftain of the APC, I want to assure all our listeners that the political high command of APC. And President Buhari is coming up after May 29 with a more rugged puritanistic leadership style. Because what people have been saying is as if we have not been able to purify society. I want to assure them, for strategic planning reasons, let Mr. President be sworn in for a second term.
Okay.
And watch out for the puritanistic posture of society.
Okay.
Mr. Yori, you know the problem of Nigerians who live abroad?
Yeah.
They claim to know Nigeria more than those of us who live in Nigeria.
Which sometimes...
And you see...
Sometimes they sound a bit like that.
Is that possible? Is that possible?
Look, I have friends in the US.
Yes.
And I get into this conversation with them all the time. In the last 8 months, you cannot point at a single week that people have not been massacred or killed in the United States.
Yeah.
School children in Florida, majority. Las Vegas, 59 people killed by a man who was staying in a 5-star hotel. The synagogue, Tree of Life synagogue, somebody just walked in Pittsburgh, massacred 11 people. Post nightclub in Orlando, somebody walked in, 49 people.
Yes.
You never hear about Americans telling you that their country is finished.
Exactly.
Their country has disappeared.
Exactly.
What Americans will say is that, look, we are standing strong.
You know,
these guys can't break us.
Exactly.
We are a country and we overcome. But when it happens in Nigeria, anywhere, even when it is not true, and I am not saying killings are not going on, the death of anybody by means of violence is regrettable.
Yes.
But Nigerians are the most critical and the most destructive of their country,
Indeed.
even when they live in abroad.
Yes.
Come home, let's build this country together. Americans built America.
Well,
the Britons built Britain. Nigerians alone will build Nigeria.
Well, exactly. We've almost run out of time, but was that who was that gentleman who called in from Ireland?
Bimbo.
Bimbo from Ireland. You know, as I said, I don't know where he's getting his news from, but you see, it sounds very much like the kind of thing being circulated in WhatsApp or those kind of news, where people are circulating one-on-one tall stories. And but he didn't respond to the question of whether he was paying any attention at all to mainstream media. By all means, enjoy yourself on social media, but when you now bring social media stuff onto mainstream and say, this is the way it is, and this is how I'm basing my analysis and understanding on, we got to leave it. The producers are saying to me, it's enough, it's time. It's just that that man in Ireland got my goat a bit. Thank Professor Tunde Samuel, APC Chieftain, thank you very much for sharing your perspectives.
Thank you.
Mr. Curtis Adigba, thank you as well.
Thanks
for sharing your perspectives with us. Please join us tomorrow with a fresh edition. I'm Yori Fulanisation. Bye-bye for now.